Okay guys, Fender versus Gibson, the age-old question, and you hear a lot about this. What I want to do is just focus on those things that actually are different all over the range. Things that are true for every single Gibson or every single Fender, and also every single Squier or Epiphone. So we'll not focus on single models, but just in general. Things that can be said for every single guitar of each brand. Pretty much, of course. There are always exceptions, so let's start. Number one, I'll say straight away, in my opinion, they will always sound different. You can tell a Fender from a Gibson always. What I mean is that you cannot get a Les Paul to sound like a Strat, you cannot get a Tele to sound like a 335. For example, if you want a Strat tone, okay, just go for Strat. Don't ask any other questions. If you like the Strat tone, go for the Strat tone. And other things I want to say, if you like the look of a guitar, go for it, because that will inspire you to pick up the instrument and play. That goes without question. If you like the look of a guitar, go for it. Number two is scale length. This is very, very important. That means that the distance between the nut and the bridge is different, usually in Gibson and Fenders. Fenders have a 25.5 inches scale, and Gibson have a 24.75. That it makes a huge difference, because a shorter scale means that the instrument is easier to play, because it has less tension on the strings, so it's easier to bend, it's easier to press the frets. Overall, the instrument is more playable. For me, the Gibsons are perfect because I have small hands and not very strong hands, and so for me they are optimal. But other times I prefer the Strat, because I like sometimes to fight against the notes. You know, the strings sounds more scale length, very important. Number three is that Fenders usually have a smaller radius on their fretboard. So these on Fenders are usually rounder. The fretboard is rounder relative to the Gibsons. And that usually means that a flatter fretboard is more playable. It's not a night and day difference, okay? And also Fenders have many kind of radiuses. Usually, in my experience, they all have a rounder fretboard compared to Gibson. Number four is, as a result of these differences in sound, scale length and radius, they feel completely different. And this might be the most important thing. Fender and Gibsons have a distinctive feel when playing them, and these bring you to play differently. When I play Gibson, I play in a certain way. When I play a Fender, I play in a different way. That may be psychological, I don't know, but it's something that many players experience while playing these two brands. Number five, this is more of a technical design thing, but I think it's very, very important because it could make the difference between having a guitar or not. See how much more of an angle the Gibson neck has compared to this, to the Fender? When the Fender falls like this, boom, usually the headstock is safe. It's very rare to break an headstock on a Fender. Instead, Gibson are infamous for their headstock design because it breaks a lot. The first time you drop a Gibson, you might break the headstock. That's why Stevie Ray Vaughan used to thrash his guitar on stage without care, because necks on Fenders don't break as easily as on Gibson. You never see rock stars thrashing their Gibsons on stage and the next day playing them. It just doesn't happen. Another thing is that Fenders are bolt-on and Gibsons are not. So if you break the neck on a Fender, you could still change the neck and you're set. Instead of one of these, changing the neck, it's very, very difficult. I mean, just to give you an idea of how simple it is to change the neck on a Fender. Back in the day, the people who assembled the neck and bodies were not luthiers, but just common people. Guys, if you happen to have other differences that apply across the whole range of Gibsons and Fenders, just leave it in the comments. I appreciate it a lot. So, thank you guys. See you next time.